No one inside that marble courtroom expected Justice Amy Coney Barrett to point her finger directly at Elon Musk and say what she said. The entire room froze as her voice sliced through the silence. Mr. Musk, your behavior shows a clear pattern of disregarding legal precedent. Not a single journalist clicked their pen. The tension could shatter glass. But what happened next silenced even the harshest skeptics. Musk didn't flinch. He didn't look rattled. Calmly, almost too calmly, he opened the folder on his desk. The folder that would rewrite everything. America's richest man wasn't just defending himself. He was about to put the very reach of government authority on trial. And only he knew how deeply he'd prepared for this moment. The case, officially titled Federal Communications Commission versus X Corp, had dominated headlines for months. At its core was a single burning question. Had Musk's social media empire deliberately violated federal content rules? The press thought they had the answer. Night after night, pundits declared, Musk is cornered this time. Massive fines are coming. What none of them knew was that, for nearly a year, Musk had buried himself in law books, constructing a defense brick by constitutional brick. Now, every seat in the Supreme Court chamber was taken, journalists, law professors, a few lucky members of the public. All waited to witness what would become one of the most watched hearings of the century. Justice Barrett began, like a surgeon. Mr. Musk, your platform has repeatedly ignored amendments to Section 230 under the 2023 Communications Act. Please explain under what authority do you believe your company is exempt from compliance? Musk leaned toward the microphone. His voice was clear, his tone respectful but unyielding. With respect, Justice Barrett, that's not accurate. We have never claimed exemption from valid law. Barrett arched an eyebrow. Your actions say otherwise. 17 formal notices, Mr. Musk. Musk cut in gently but firmly. 16. A ripple of whispers spread through the packed room. Barrett's eyes narrowed. Excuse me, 16 notices, not 17. And we answered each one with lawful grounds based on established precedent. Barrett flipped through her notes, but Musk didn't wait. The FCC's record is incomplete, Your Honor. Gasps rose from the back benches. Chief Justice Roberts shifted in his chair, ready to step in, but Barrett raised one hand slightly, signaling, let him continue. Mr. Musk, this court does not indulge trivial corrections. Address the heart of the matter. Why did your platform defy direct regulatory orders? Musk slowly lifted the folder's cover, revealing pages marked with handwritten notes and highlighted lines. His words cut through the air like a scalpel. Because, Justice Barrett, what they call defiance was, in truth, our constitution. The courtroom felt like the center of the universe. Every eye locked on the man who had just dared to correct a Supreme Court justice and challenge an entire federal commission in the same breath. Justice Barrett's eyes narrowed, a look only a handful of attorneys had ever faced without regretting it. Mr. Musk, this court does not tolerate showmanship. You claim the FCC misled us. You understand what that accusation means, don't you? Musk's reply was almost gentle. I do, Justice Barrett, which is why I did not come here empty-handed. These documents show the Commission not only misrepresented our compliance, but actively sought to bend regulatory powers beyond constitutional limits. A hum spread through the audience. Justice Sotomayor exchanged a glance with Justice Kagan. Even Justice Alito leaned forward, clearly intrigued. Barrett's tone hardened, slicing through the tension. If you're wasting this court's time with conspiracy theories, Mr. Musk, your company will face consequences far beyond fines. Musk didn't flinch. He tapped the open folder. Respectfully, this is no theory. The pages you have contain internal FCC emails, meeting transcripts, and legal memos, where officials discuss strategies to use technical compliance rules as a loophole to control content, which this court explicitly prohibited in Net Choice v. Paxton. The mention of Net Choice v. Paxton shifted the air like a sudden wind. It was Barrett's own landmark opinion. Her eyes flickered, surprise, recognition, and then her professional mask returned. Justice Thomas spoke for the first time, his deep voice echoing in the silent hall. "Mr. Musk, are you asserting that the FCC used compliance demands as proxy speech control?" Musk nodded without hesitation. "Yes, Justice Thomas, and our evidence shows this tactic was deliberate, sustained, and kept from judicial review." A murmur turned into a low wave of chatter among the press benches. Chief Justice Roberts tapped his gavel once for silence. The Solicitor General shot to his feet, voice sharp with disbelief. "Your Honors, this is a sensational narrative with zero legal foundation. Mr. Musk is no constitutional scholar. His so-called evidence—" Barrett raised her hand. "Counselor, sit down. We'll judge the material ourselves." She turned to Musk, voice steady but eyes unblinking. "Mr. Musk, you are telling this court that a federal agency knowingly manipulated regulatory authority to do indirectly what it is forbidden to do directly under the First Amendment." Musk's voice was low, but carried to every corner of the chamber. "I am. And the proof is not just in my words. It's in their own communications." Barrett picked up the first document, scanning it in silence. One by one, other justices followed suit. The hearing, once expected to humiliate Musk, had turned into something else entirely. A live dissection of whether an American The courtroom felt more like a battlefield now, but instead of weapons, the ammunition was law, precedent, and undeniable evidence. Justice Barrett flipped through pages of internal FCC emails, her face unreadable, but her focus razor-sharp. Chief Justice Roberts leaned back, arms crossed. Even the usually reserved Justice Thomas looked openly curious. Musk stood at the table, still calm, as if he'd rehearsed this scene 1,000 times in the mirror. Justice Barrett broke the silence first. "Mr. Musk, you claim this court's prior ruling in Net Choice applies here. Are you arguing that the FCC's technical directives amount to unconstitutional compelled speech control?" Musk nodded, unwavering. "Exactly, Your Honor. And not just generally. These documents show they crafted technical compliance demands as a backdoor to pressure platforms into moderating speech they could not legally police directly." The Solicitor General interrupted, voice tense. "Your Honors, this is a distortion. Regulatory compliance is standard practice, not covert censorship." Musk didn't miss a beat. "Then explain why senior FCC staff explicitly discuss in these minutes using compliance as a convenient lever, their words, to shape platform policy behind closed doors. That's not standard practice. That's regulatory pretext." Justice Barrett's pen tapped her notes, her tone cutting through the Solicitor General's protest. "Counselor, if these records are genuine, they raise serious constitutional questions about government overreach." Justice Jackson, who until now had watched quietly, leaned forward. "Mr. Musk, you referenced Youngstown v. Sawyer earlier. Are you asserting that your company had the right to resist these directives based on that precedent?" Musk answered immediately, no sign of hesitation. "Yes, Justice Jackson. Just as the court ruled a president couldn't seize private steel mills without congressional authority, federal agencies can't coerce private speech through indirect tactics. When facing unconstitutional pressure, the proper response is judicial review, not blind compliance." Justice Jackson arched an eyebrow, a faint smile hinting she appreciated Musk quoting her own dissent in a recent lower court ruling. Meanwhile, the FCC's lead counsel scrambled. "Your Honors, this is not comparable." Barrett cut him off. "Counselor, you will have your time. Right now, the record before this court shows a credible claim that an agency tried to bypass the Constitution." She turned back to Musk. "Continue. What remedy are you seeking here, Mr. Musk?" Musk took a breath, steady as ever. "An injunction against the FCC's directives that violate this court's precedent, and a clear reaffirmation that no agency can bend regulatory power into speech control, no matter how well disguised." A hush fell over the chamber. A showdown had become a moment of reckoning for American free speech, and it was Elon Musk, not a veteran litigator, leading the charge. 3 days after that seismic hearing, the Supreme Court did something few had predicted. They issued an emergency administrative stay, freezing all FCC enforcement actions tied to the disputed directives. Legal analysts called it a stunning turn, an early sign that Musk's arguments had hit their mark. Across cable news, commentators who once mocked Musk's legal bravado now dissected his strategy with grudging respect. Hashtags like Musk vs. FCC and Barrett showdown trended for days. Millions watched replays of the tense exchange, the world's richest man quoting Supreme Court precedents line by line, catching government lawyers flat-footed. Harvard and Yale law professors debated the implications in late-night podcasts. Some admitted they had to reread Barrett's net choice ruling themselves to follow Musk's line of attack. One former clerk summed it up. They wanted a circus, instead he delivered a masterclass. Meanwhile, the FCC found itself cornered. Congressional hearings were announced to question commissioners about the internal emails Musk's team had exposed. A former FCC legal advisor even stepped forward as a whistleblower, confirming on national television that the agency had privately strategized to use technical compliance as a pressure point for content moderation. Other tech companies, emboldened by Musk's stand, began to reconsider their quiet compliance. Google's legal team released a statement hinting at a review of constitutional issues surrounding certain federal guidelines. Meta filed a motion to join Musk's suit as an interested party. What started as a government attempt to humble a defiant billionaire had evolved into a constitutional showdown reshaping the boundaries of speech and regulation in the digital age. Outside the Supreme Court, Musk spoke to a swarm of reporters. He wore the same dark suit, the same calm smile. "I'm not a lawyer," he said, "but when principles matter, you do your homework." Justice Barrett's own words guided me. I simply followed where the law and the Constitution pointed. A reporter shouted, "Did you expect to change her mind?" Musk shrugged, almost amused. "I didn't come to change minds. I came to tell the truth, with evidence and precedent. The rest is up to the court." Legal scholars now predict the case may stand alongside landmark free speech rulings for generations to come. Barrett, who began that hearing as Musk's harshest critic, found herself praised by both sides for her intellectual honesty and unwavering focus on constitutional fidelity. What was once a simple regulatory case had become a turning point, a reminder that in a country built on free speech, no government agency, no matter how subtle its methods, could dictate what private platforms must say or suppress. And it all happened because one man, who was never taken seriously as a legal mind, decided to take the Constitution seriously enough to fight.